Hi and a huge welcome to Steve's Kitchen. Just a short video today to discuss the difference between shortbread biscuits or shortbread cookies and sugar cookies. Now I've been asked this several times and I thought, well, I'll make a simple video and explain the difference. What is the difference? Well, they're very similar and yet very different, and let me show you why. So on this side I have my sugar cookies, which I baked on Steve's Kitchen, and these ones we're decorating for Christmas. And on this side I have my shortbread. Now the immediate obvious difference between the two is really the texture. If I take a sugar cookie here, you'll see the sugar cookie is quite firm. It's a fairly solid cookie. The shortbread, on the other hand, is extremely soft, a very light. And if I just squeeze that there, you'll see that it's a very crumbly cookie. So if I want to decorate a cookie, or if you're using a cookie for dunking in tea or coffee, this is the cookie to go for. But what about for taste? Well, firstly, the reason this is a shortbread, like a short crust pastry, is because it's light and crumbly. There's no gluten holding this thing together. It's ever so delicate. This, on the other hand, is a much firmer cookie. The shortbread we don't tend to flavour. I certainly would never put vanilla or any sort of flavouring in here. These you can add vanilla. These ones have vanilla. They have egg in them as well. You can add all sorts of different flavours, cocoa, chocolate, whatever you like. So let's have the taste test. Firstly, the shortbread. Shortbread has that light, soft, buttery flavour. It virtually melts. You almost don't have to chew it. It melts on your tongue. It's a delicious flavour. Let's try the sugar cookie. Actually, let me get a smaller piece of that just to give a try. A little bit of crunch, completely different flavour and texture, much firmer, very nice. Got that sort of vanilla undertone to it. As I say, these are great for decorating, but I can honestly say, if you were to say to me, Steve, you can only have one biscuit from now until the end of time, it would absolutely have to be the shortbread. Although it hasn't got the flavour, it is so delicious. It's almost difficult not to have another bite of it. The soft, buttery way that it melts on your tongue, it is fantastic. You can actually ice and cover these, but they're great just the way they are. I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I am an absolute cookie or biscuit fanatic. So making shortbread is as easy as 1, 2, 3. That's 1 part sugar, 2 parts butter, 3 parts flour. That's 50 grams or 2 ounces of a superfine or Castor sugar. You can pretty much use any sugar you like. That's 100 grams or 4 ounces of butter. And it does have to be by weight rather than measurement. 150 grams or 6 ounces of flour. Now I'm using a mixture. I'm putting a third of rice flour or corn flour in there. And the reason we do that is because shortbread, like short crust pastry, is a very crumbly, melt in the mouth texture to it. And I can enhance that by mixing in some corn flour or rice flour. So I'm actually going to go for a third of corn flour in here to get that lovely melt in the mouth texture. So I'm going to start by putting my butter into a bowl, and it should be soft butter, room temperature. And I'm also using salted butter. If you want to use a non-salted butter, you might want to add a little pinch of salt into this. And then I'm going to add my sugar in with the butter. And using a spoon, I'm just going to cream these two together until our butter and sugar is beautifully creamed together like that. So now into that butter we can add our 2 flours. As I say, you can use a mixture or you can just use all purpose. But I've got 150 grams, that's 6 ounces of flour. And I start to work that together with my spoon. And when it's crumbing together like that, we're just going to get our hands in there and draw this dough together. And when it pulls together like that, you've got this beautiful, light, buttery pastry. I'm just going to lightly flour the surface of my worktop. I'll sprinkle a little flour on top as well. And I'm just going to use a rolling pin. Now, I'm going to go for a round shortbread. You could cut this into fingers. You can pretty much do whatever you want with the shape. So we just continue to work that into a circle about the size of a dessert plate. Then I'm going to lift that up very gently and place it down onto some baking paper. I can just ease it back together if you get any little cracks in there. And then it's a tradition just to score the surface into 8. So I'm just using a knife to not go all the way through, but just gently mark the surface of the cookie. And I'm also just going to crimp a couple of little crimps on the edge of each of these cookies. And then we're just going to make a little fork pattern also on the surface of the cookie. Then we're going to take this cookie and we're just going to chill it for 15 minutes or so in the fridge. I'm preheating my oven to 150 degrees Celsius, that's about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're going to cook these for about 20 to 25 minutes. And just keep an eye on them, we don't want them to go too dark. Now there is my shortbread out of the oven and it's a beautiful sandy colour. Now whilst it's still hot, I'm going to sprinkle some Castor sugar or Superfine sugar over the top for its effect, and then I'm going to let it cool down completely. Now there's that shortbread all cut up. It absolutely smells delicious. It's soft, it's crumbly, it's very light. So let me try this wonderful, wonderful shortbread now. There is something absolutely delicious. I can see why this is such a favourite at Christmas time. The buttery soft, it almost melts on your tongue. Give this shortbread a try. Please share the love, give this the thumbs up. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. I can see I'm not going to be able to resist eating another slice of this shortbread. It is absolutely fantastic. Please subscribe to the channel. I'll leave a couple of links here to some other videos. See you next time. Take care.